Good morning friends. Today our topic is attachment of fibula.
Let's see the attachment over the lateral surface. Here you can see the anterior border and this one is the posterior border. In between the anterior and posterior border we have lateral surface. First we divide the lateral surface into three parts: upper one third, medial one third and lower one third. See in this figure, it is the schematic diagram. This one is the anterior border and this one is the posterior border. Here we have divided into three parts: upper one third, middle one third and lower one third. In the whole of the upper one third, here whole of the upper one third and posterior half of the middle one third, posterior half of the middle one third. In this area there will be attachment of peroneus longus muscle, while in the remaining part, that is the anterior part of the middle one third, anterior part of the middle one third and whole of the lower one third, whole of the lower one third, there will be attachment of peroneus brevis. Now we will see the attachment over the medial surface. You can see here, this one is the anterior border and this one is the medial border. In between the anterior and medial border we have medial surface. Medial surface, as we have discussed, it is very narrow in the upper 2/5 portion. Now this surface we have divided into three parts. See in this figure, upper 1/4, middle 2/4 and lower 1/4. Upper 1/4, middle 2/4 and lower 1/4. Now the attachment over the upper 1/4 and anterior part of the middle 2/4, middle 2/4 anterior part, there will be attachment of the extensor digitorum longus. Upper 1/4 and anterior half of the middle 2/4, there will be attachment of the extensor digitorum longus. The next muscle is extensor hallucis longus. The attachment of extensor hallucis longus will be over the posterior half of the middle 2/4. So here almost posterior half of the middle 2/4, there will be attachment of the extensor hallucis longus. Now last one, in the lower 1/4 part, in the lower 1/4 part there will be attachment of the peroneus tertius muscle. Here there will be attachment of peroneus tertius muscle. So remember guys, the medial surface we have divided into three parts: upper 1/4, middle 2/4 and lower 1/4. Let's look at the attachment over the posterior surface. In between the medial border and posterior border we have this posterior surface. As we know, posterior surface is divided into two parts by a vertical median crest. This one is the median crest, so the division will be posteromedial and posterolateral. Now over the posterolateral, attachment will be like this. Here we have divided the area into upper 1/4 and lower 3/4. In the upper 1/4 there will be attachment of the soleus muscle, that is the muscle of calf, while in the lower 3/4 there will be attachment of flexor hallucis longus. So here there will be flexor hallucis longus. Now attachment over the area in between the medial border and medial crest. So this area is grooved. You can see the grooved portion. Here there will be attachment of tibialis posterior muscle. Tibialis posterior muscle. So after viewing the attachment over the shaft, we will see the attachment over the ends. At the upper end we have capsular ligament of the superior tibiofibular joint. At the margin of the articular facet, there will be attachment of the capsular ligament of superior tibiofibular joint. As we know, posterolateral to the articular facet we have styloid process. At the anterolateral slope of the styloid process we have C-shape attachment of biceps femoris muscle. See, remember here the shape of the manner of insertion is C. Now within the C there will be attachment of one ligament known as fibular collateral ligament. Now next, over the head corresponding to the each surfaces there will be attachment of the corresponding muscles. So the muscle arising from the lateral aspect will reach over the head, that is the peroneus longus. Over the posterior surface there will be soleus muscle, and over the medial surface there will be extensor digitorum longus muscle. Now friends, we will see the ligamentous attachment. As we know, there is anterior border, interosseous border and posterior border. Over the anterior border there will be attachment of the anterior intermuscular septa. The next one is at the lower part of the anterior margin of the lower triangular area above the lateral malleolus, that will give attachment to the superior extensor retinaculum. Remember, lower part of the anterior margin of the lower triangular area above the lateral malleolus, almost here, it will give attachment to the superior extensor retinaculum, and lower part of the posterior margin of this lower triangular area will give attachment to the superior peroneal retinaculum. Now coming to the medial border. The medial border is also called as interosseous border. This one is the medial border. It will be very near to the anterior border. Now this border will give attachment to the interosseous membrane. In the upper part there will be gap for anterior tibial vessel, while in the lower part there will be gap for perforating branch of the peroneal artery. Now third one is the posterior border. Over the posterior border there will be attachment of the posterior intermuscular septa. Now friends, coming to the attachment over the lower end. As we know, the lower end will form the lateral malleolus. It has anterior surface, lateral surface, medial surface and posterior surface. The anterior surface is rough while the lateral surface is somewhat flat and elongated, and the medial surface has articular facet for talus, and posteromedially there will be malleolar fossa. Now friends, just above the articular facet there is a rough triangular area. Now this part will articulate with the tibia, so that will form the inferior tibiofibular joint. So here from anterior to posterior there are three ligaments in between the tibia and fibula. The anterior part of this rough triangular area will give attachment to the anterior tibiofibular ligament, while the posterior part will give attachment to the posterior tibiofibular ligament. In between them, there will be interosseous tibiofibular ligament. So there are three ligaments in this rough area just above the articular facet of talus. Now coming to the attachment over the lateral malleolus itself. The area anterior to the articular facet, here it will give attachment to the anterior talofibular ligament. Area posterior-inferior to the articular facet, so that is near the malleolar fossa. This will give attachment to the posterior talofibular ligament, and just above that, here there will be attachment of the inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament, that is nothing but the remaining part of this posterior tibiofibular ligament. Remember, inferior transverse tibiofibular and posterior tibiofibular ligament are the same one. Now, over the posterior aspect of the lateral malleolus, there is a groove. That groove is for lodgement of the two tendons, peroneal brevis and peroneus longus. In the deeper part there will be peroneus brevis, and in the superficial part there will be peroneus longus. The last one at the notch at the inferior aspect of the lateral malleolus, there will be ligamentous attachment of calcaneofibular ligament. So friends, that's all for ligamentous attachment. Now we will see that ligamentous attachment over the articular foot and inferior aspect of the tibia and fibula. Here you can see this is the articulated leg and foot of the left side. This one is tibia, this one is fibula, and this is articulated foot having talus bone just beneath the tibia. Now we have seen the anterior and posterior tibiofibular ligament. See here, there will be formation of inferior tibiofibular joint. We have seen the rough area above the articular aspect of the talus. There will be anterior and posterior tibiofibular ligament. So almost here at the inner aspect there will be anterior tibiofibular ligament, and here that is over the posterior aspect, but inner side there will be posterior tibiofibular ligament, and in between them there will be interosseous tibiofibular ligament. Now we will see the ligament over the lateral malleolus. We have seen just anterior to the articular facet there will be anterior talofibular ligament. Same way posteriorly there will be posterior talofibular ligament, and at the inferior notch there will be calcaneofibular ligament. Now in this view I want to show inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament. This is the left sided tibia and fibula anterior view. Now I turn, we can see the posterior aspect. At the inner aspect of the malleolar fossa towards the medial malleolus, almost here horizontally, there will be inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament, and that is the part of the posterior tibiofibular ligament. So friends, we will see the important points regarding the ossification of the fibula. As we know, fibula is a typical long bone. It has shaft, upper end and the lower end. So for developmental point of view, the shaft develops from one primary center and the upper end develops from one secondary center. The lower end develops from the another secondary center. The primary center appears at the age of 8th week of intrauterine life, while the secondary center for the upper end appears at the 4th year of life, while it fuses with the shaft at the age of 18th years of life. Now, regarding the secondary center of the lower end. The lower end secondary center appears at the age of first year of life, and it fuses at the 16th year of life. Now, as if we compare upper end and lower end, the secondary center for the lower end appears first and fuses first in comparison with the upper end. So here the fibula violates the law of ossification. Here the secondary center for the lower end appears first and it should be fused last with the shaft, but here it fuses first, that is at the age of 16th years. So it violates the law of ossification. Now there are certain reasons behind that. Number one, this is the pressure epiphysis. The lower end acts as the pressure epiphysis, and law also states that the pressure epiphysis should fuses first. So that's why the scenario is like that. Now regarding the upper end is the growing end. That's why secondary center for the upper end fuses last with the shaft. It remains growing along with the upper end of the tibia and fuses last at the age of 18th year of life.
Now we will see the applied aspect of fibula. Number 1. The fibula is commonly used for bone grafting. When there is major accidental injury, there will be loss of bone of any limb. In that case, we have to replace that bone with the help of good healthy bone. So this fibula and subcutaneous portion of the tibia is commonly used as bone grafting. Second, common peroneal nerve injury is common at the level of neck of fibula. We know just below the head there is neck, and at the level of lateral aspect of the neck there is passage for common peroneal nerve. So suppose after any fracture or accidental injury over the leg, there will be plaster, and suppose the plaster is very tight, there are chances of compression of the common peroneal nerve. So in that case there will be temporary palsy of the common peroneal nerve. Third one, in the Pott's fracture, there will be involvement of the fibula. In the Pott's fracture, in one stage there will be involvement of medial malleolus fracture. In another stage there will be fracture of the lateral malleolus. So in Pott's fracture, according to the severity, there will be involvement of the fibula, that is the lateral bone, along with the tibia bone. So that's all for today. Thank you.